business owner? Entrepreneur? Want to learn how online marketing can improve your business?
Your questions.
Our advice.
This is Not a Real Job.
Welcome to episode 62 of Not a Real Job, our podcast about marketing and technology and entrepreneurship and related topics. I'm Joel Kelly. I live in Nova Scotia, and I am one of your two hosts.
I am Chris. I don't live in Nova Scotia, and I am still one of your two hosts.
Still, after all these years.
All this time. Episode 62, good grief.
Too many episodes, I'd say.
I think we peaked around 25, maybe.
I have a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Should we only have, let's say, 50 episodes, and it's one in, one out system?
I think that point has passed.
Well, that's why I'm saying we need to trim 12 episodes.
Huh. It's an interesting theory. I'll mull it over. Well, I'll get back to you.
Okay, well, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, what makes our podcast different?
Nothing.
Currently, nothing. Exactly. What if our podcast was more ephemeral, ethereal, evanescent? So
you want us to have some, like, early 2000s weird sort of ambient pop in there. Is that what you're...
That's... Exactly. I feel like
we should channel Evanescence.
We should have Evanescence, famous for that song from Daredevil.
I don't know.
I think Daredevil.
My youth. It's famous from my youth.
Yeah, Colin Farrell, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner, Coolio in a deleted scene that's in the director's cut.
I will take your word for it.
Jon Favreau.
Sure.
Anyway, if you like the Daredevil director's cut, let me know, because I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the world who purchased and enjoyed and occasionally rewatches that film.
Yep, that's.
It's hard to get over Colin Farrell in that movie, though.
I mean, I won't disagree.
Yeah. What about that scene where Jon Favreau tries to trick Ben Affleck into putting mustard in his tea?
Jon Favreau, the actor, is an interesting phenomenon. He's not really that anymore, is he?
An actor?
I mean, I don't know.
Think so. I mean, he's been in the Iron Mans.
Sure, because
he directed them.
Yeah.
Well,
he was in Elf, which he also directed.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did he direct Swingers? Has he only been in movies he directed?
It is entirely possible. I would not put it past him.
He didn't direct Chef, though, did he?
I think he might have.
Oh, no. John. Well,
I'm Googling. Yes, he directed.
Of course he did. That's okay. Wow. In fairness, the only reason we're on a podcast is because we make it.
It's true.
No one would knowingly invite us on another podcast.
And I think it's safe to say that they have not.
Absolutely. It's never happened. I've only ever been on podcasts that I had some hand in creating. So I guess we're like the Jon Favreaus of podcasting, which could be worse.
Certainly. I'm sure he is doing very well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that's the one distinction, is that he's doing well. Us, not so much.
It looks like he's doing well from the outside, but there's probably a secret sadness in there that we don't know about.
That we would feel a kinship to.
Yeah. It's I mean, and let's face it, relatability is his only asset.
I would say it's our only asset.
And that jawline.
Yeah.
And our jawlines.
I'm not thrilled with my jawline. Anyway, what are you drinking?
I am having a Propeller Extra Special Bitter. It's from the Propeller Brewing Company here in Halifax, which you got to try when you were here.
I did. I was there. I enjoyed that beer.
How did you feel about Halifax, Chris? Well, okay, sorry. What are you drinking?
Okay, I am drinking a Chilean Carmenere, which is a type of red wine grape that existed in the 1850s. And up until the 1990s, they didn't realize that it actually grew in Chile. They kind of had no idea. And then some guy went down there and did some DNA testing or however they do that. It was like, actually, this thing you've been calling Merlot is not Merlot. And it took them 150 years to discover that. But that is what I'm drinking. And what I thought about Halifax It was very wet town.
Cold and rainy.
Cold and rainy when I was there.
It's a wet place. Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I really did. I was thinking about this.
You wrote a delightful blog post about it.
Yeah. It's interesting being in New York and the people who aren't in New York kind of all want to be in New York for the most part.
Correct. Yes.
But kind of hate where they are. And this is not true of everyone. But there's this general feeling that New York or London or San Francisco, these really big cities, are like so much better in a lot of ways. And there's certainly a lot of advantages, but I think people in the smaller cities tend to forget, or maybe not forget, but it's the grass is always greener, and there are a lot of really wonderful things that I really enjoyed about Halifax. So good on you all. Keep it up. Hopefully I'll come back soon when the weather is less gross.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know I had a lot of fun.
Well, it is nice to hear an outside perspective, because you're absolutely right. I mean, I think it's fairly typical for people to hate where they're from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like you increasingly hate the people that you've known for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Your job, if you've been there for, let's say, over 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you get used to eventually sucks. So I think that's kind of, and a lot of my hate for Halifax does stem from the fact that I've lived here my entire goddamn life, and I would like nothing more than to not do that anymore.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine that I have zero baseline for this, but I bet that there are a lot of people who leave Halifax in their 20s or so, go out into the world, and then come back in their 40s or so.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's a huge trend for small cities in general.
Definitely.
You get out, you sort of get it out of your system and realize, oh, it was actually kind of nice and yeah.
I would say 90 to 93% of my friends all moved to Toronto. And even now, late 20s, early 30s have begun to boomerang.
Well, you've got limited time left to boomerang, not to put a clock on it, but I think now's the time, man. You are married. Yeah. It's like legit.
It is that. I agree. I mean, my time for that's where I think much of my crippling despair in life comes from, is the idea that I simply missed my chance to get out. And now I'm just, going to coast towards the grave.
I mean, I guess the good thing is that you work in the travel biz, so at least you are getting out on a regular basis.
That is true.
And also, I would say this, because I know, having had a conversation with him, that your boss listens to this.
Yes.
So, hey, if you ever wanted to start up a New York bureau, Joel's your man.
I assure you, I probably say that to him daily. Oh, man. And I take back all those things I said about hating one's job after 6 to 8 months.
This is the longest you've ever been in a job.
It is.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good sign.
By a significant margin. Anyway, we have topics and questions and all those things. So we should probably dive in. I got an iPhone 6, which was probably the most exciting thing that happened to me last weekend.
Other than my presence in your life.
Correct, in my marriage, but yeah, exactly. You're arriving in Halifax and receiving an iPhone. Receiving? I mean, I did pay for it, I guess.
You still received it.
I still received it. It was handed across the counter to me. Were probably the most exciting things, and I have thoughts about the iPhone 6, Chris.
Okay, hit us.
It really feels like you're going to drop this thing all the time.
Now, why is that? Is it heavy? Is it
is not.
Light?
It is, I'm going to say, slightly heavier than the iPhone 5S, which was my phone. And as I mentioned many times, I think it is the most beautiful phone ever, even though apparently I'm in the minority there. It's the thinness. So they talked about this at length on ATP. So I don't want to, not that I think we have a huge crossover in audiences, but I don't want to just rehash something that happened on another podcast. We do that enough with Mabim Bam. But it is just as tacky, I guess. So if you do like the slip test, like Syracuse was saying on that show, like if you put it in your hand and then tilt your hand, you can get almost 90 degrees before it slips out. So it's not actually slippier. more slippery. Slippier? Wow.
Making up words here, folks.
It's not actually more slippery, but the thinness and the rounded edges and how the glass curves around a bit too really make it feel unstable. And the most important point, and I didn't really think about this until Marco mentioned it on ATP. I think I'll just put the link to that in the show notes. Because the phone is so much bigger, you're constantly adjusting your grip. So you are intentionally loosening your grip on this thing so you can move it around, which really increases the risk, or at least the feeling of the risk, that you're going to drop it. So otherwise, it's a beautiful phone, and I really like it. And the camera on it is insane. And it's just, I do like the increased real estate is interesting. Like going through Instagram photos that are now larger, going through your text conversations and messages, you just see so much more stuff, which makes sense. And that is kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. So the size doesn't bother you as much as maybe the thinness, or...
I don't think the increased size would bother me at all if it had more
squared edges, maybe.
Squared edges, exactly. So you could feel like you have a grip on this thing.
Now, is this something that could be rectified by a good case?
Yes, absolutely.
And are you a case person?
I am not. I had a case on my 4.
Therein lies the rub.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably going to end up with a case.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Or I'll just, put some double-sided tape on it, maybe.
Get a belt sander and just square up those edges.
I could just add some. Oh, no. We've been over. It's so easy now that I think about it. I'm just going to get some glue. Pour some sand on the back of this thing with the glue on there. Wait for it to dry. And basically, I've just got,
That's clever.
Sandpaper phone.
That will never slip.
No. Cut up my hands real good, but that's fine.
This is pretty good. I think we should actually do a Kickstarter for this concept.
I would pay it because I can't not contribute to Kickstarter projects.
He's a Kickstarter addict.
Yeah, it's a problem. I pet a potbelly pig yesterday.
I hear. How did that come about? Can you give us the backstory?
We like to stay in these cottages, which are in Economy, Nova Scotia. And in Economy, there is a famous cheesemaker called That Dutchman's Cheese. I believe it was originally named That Damn Dutchman's Cheese. But, as these companies grow, they like to become more conservative.
Censorship.
Anyway, we've been going to these cottages all the time, but we've never been to the cheese place. Mostly because I don't really eat cheese. But
like it all.
Like it all. I did have some. I know, it made my belly hurt. Anyway, and they have a little nature walk there. They've got some animals. They got some pigs. They got some goats. They got some cows. They got some Highland cattle.
The old farm gathering, you might say.
Yeah, so your usual suspects. Yeah,
sure. Were there any chickens, rooster?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Some of them were fairly exotic. They were like I forget, it was like the bare neck chicken or naked neck chicken.
Doesn't sound very appropriate.
It was gross. It was gross. I didn't care for that one. Leah kept wanting to stop to feed the birds, but I shuffled her along.
Birds are disgusting, disgusting animals that I want nothing to do with.
They are
abominations under our Lord. Basically.
Agreed. The only bird I now have a begrudging respect for is the emu, which I'd never really interacted with one of those up close. And they're straight up dinosaur-looking vicious things, and they make the most unsettling noise. And their feet look exactly like dinosaur feet. So I was like, okay, as a Jurassic Park aficionado, I have to accept that the emu is likely our most dinosaur-like bird. And as a fan of dinosaurs, I'm like, okay, I like this throwback. I like this reference to superior animals, but otherwise, no, thank you.
None whatsoever.
No, I don't eat eggs or meat. So birds do nothing for me.
You have no use for their existence.
No. If you know how the honeybees are all gone now. If someone said, roosters, toast, never getting them back, wouldn't even faze me.
It would bother me.
Yeah.
But I'm a carnivore. I consume the fear of other
exclusively the meat of other animals.
You say that, but it's actually a little true.
No, but you only eat hot dogs.
All hot dogs all the time. You know the whitest kids you know sketch? That is.
Oh, you're Jimmy.
That is me. That is my life.
That's a good sketch. That's one of my favorites.
They're a fine troop of young men there.
What is
performing the comedies?
Yeah.
Let's talk about something marketing related.
Yeah, like your magazine problem.
Not that. We can get to that. I want to intersperse our banter with things that people might actually give a shit about.
Doesn't it seem like I've been actively avoiding that?
A little bit. I'm okay with that. We'll just break it up, sort of like segments, as if we planned this out in advance, something like that.
Okay, I'll do interstitial music.
Perfect.
Questions.
I was going to actually skip the question for the moment.
Oh shit! What are we doing instead?
Okay, so I saw this recently. So this is
is
SEO
news.
related.
Okay.
Yeah.
News.
Breaking news from like a week and a half ago or whatever.
Great.
So we're already off to a great start. So if you have any passing knowledge of SEO, you'll know that this concept of PageRank is super important or said to be very important. And what PageRank is a number between 0 and 10 that basically Google uses to say how important your site is or how relevant your site is. And that's kind of calculated based on the number of links to your site, the number of mentions of your site, things like that. And for a long time, the only way that you, human being so-and-so, could see the actual PageRank assigned to your site was installing the Google Toolbar. And that would give you your number. So like 10 is really great. 1 is less great. And Google has just announced that they are not going to actually update that PageRank anymore. So going forward, there's going to be zero way to see not the ranking that Google gives your site, but their measure of your site's value or prominence, that kind of thing. And I found that really interesting. And it goes back to all the same stuff that we've talked about on past episodes. And pretty much every time we've mentioned SEO is like Google is looking for ways to stop people from gaming the system. Mm-hmm. And they want you to start caring about content. And they've said this hundreds of times, probably thousands of times, that the only thing that matters is the quality of your stuff. But I'm really glad to see them making this move because I think it's sort of the first concrete step, other than like algorithm changes and things like that. But that's all kind of behind the scenes. But saying that they're not going to actually show you your PageRank anymore because it's a measure that's used for gaming the system. Like I think that's really valuable, and that's good on them.
Mm-hmm. There's that whole article has a distinct air of inevitability around it, especially since, according to it, apparently Matt Cutts said back in 2013 that this was happening.
And I think it was PageRank, the Toolbar PageRank specifically, because they're going to still use PageRank in the behind the scenes. Like It's not going to actually disappear. It's just you're not going to be able to see it. But I think even so, there's been a general sense over the past past couple of years that PageRank that was shown in the toolbar wasn't necessarily accurate. It was a good judge, a good sort of metric to compare different sites to each other. But it was never like Google's not going out and ranking every site on a score of 1 to 10 and actually using that metric. The PageRank metric that they were showing you was a distillation of all the other metrics of your site that they have. But I think it was easy, especially for young SEOs or new SEOs, to like get really hung up on the PageRank and the value of the PageRank when it really all along the one that they're showing you has been kind of meaningless anyway.
Yeah, I think exactly. I think it was it was a thing that clients could bring up as a reason.
Exactly. Like I think PageRank was like the follower count of SEO,
or how many likes, or how many hits our video got, that kind of thing. Like it was it was a symptom of knowing a little bit about something. So yeah, I think it makes sense. The only thing when Google gets, I don't know that transparent's the word, when they get less transparent, because, everyone knows I'm not the biggest Google fan in the world, I get slightly more concerned that they're really just asking for more trust. Like, okay, we're not going to show you PageRank anymore because trust us, we know what we're doing.
Sure.
I don't know. It just that kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I mean, overall, this seems clearly to be a beneficial thing. But that's my only reservation. It's like, well, we should be able to see how you're ranking, our website, just in case we're doing something wrong. And Google saying, no, don't worry, is interesting.
Yeah. And I think they're doing some things toward that. Something I saw this weekend was that in certain cases now, so if your site is set up with Google Webmaster tools, which is a set of tools they have basically to show you like how often they're crawling your site, what pages they're crawling, things like that. If they have any errors while they're crawling, certain webmasters who are doing affiliate marketing, basically like setting up a website and posting tons of affiliate links and kind of crappy content to get people to click on those affiliate links, buy stuff, et cetera, they are starting to get alerts in their webmaster tools saying things like Google has recognized that, and I'm paraphrasing here, the quality of your site's content, it looks like it may be lower than our average, and we're taking action against your site as a result. So I think they're making efforts to be more transparent about the source of penalties where they apply. But I agree that we have to be careful with Google because they do hold so much power in the search field. We have to make sure that we're still demanding or asking nicely or whatever.
Yeah.
That
I like to make demands of Google.
It's never going to go wrong. We just need to, keep asking for more information and clarity wherever we can get it. But so there we go. There's a slightly relevant topic out of the way. Now we can talk about more random stuff.
Banter.
We should make that a downloadable ringtone.
Done. I'll do one better. If you email us, and I'll do those custom. So
you've got nothing better to.
Literally nothing.
Fair enough.
Yep. Don't
Sorry,
say that.
Joel's boss who's listening.
It's Canadian Thanksgiving.
That's true. That is happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Tea day.
I was wishing I didn't have to bring that up myself, but here we are.
I meant to, and then we got distracted, and
yeah.
Also, it's not really a real holiday.
I'm not going to argue with you. I literally proposed to Leah yesterday that we just kind of forget about it, and that was met with considerable scorn.
I mean, the problem for you is that it is, generally speaking, a meat-based holiday.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a tofurkey in the oven. But I mean,
you can put a tofu in an oven. It doesn't melt or something.
It does melt into a plastic-like sludge.
An amorphous blob of disgustingness.
Yeah, and then you just pour that over some potatoes.
Sure. I would say Thanksgiving is a potato-based holiday, actually. So I agree,
and I love potatoes.
Oh, they're the best.
They're my favorite food, easily.
They're so good. Your first draft is done.
Yeah, I finished the first draft of my book. That was
When
exciting.
Can I read it?
I think we're shooting to have it out before the holidays. I mean, the Inkshare says February, which I really appreciate that. Be like, well, don't get your hopes up.
No, wait, what am I? I'm pretty sure I paid for a first draft. I think that was one of my perks.
Yeah, it was. I guess you'll get that. I don't know. Honestly.
It's an enigma.
I don't ask questions of people who are helping me do things.
Fair enough.
I think you will get that. Did it say you're going to get that early? I don't think so. Maybe.
They would send the first draft with the finished book?
I would imagine.
So I can compare and contrast?
I guess, so you can run a diff and see what changed. That's exciting.
Huh.
Kind of. I mean, I've purchased Blu-rays of films that came with other earlier cuts. The only one I can think of course, is Blade
Daredevil.
Runner. Blade Runner, which has, 5 different versions.
I've never seen Blade Runner, so
That's really upsetting because it's my very favorite movie, but I've watched every version many times.
along in a marathon with the Daredevil director's cut.
Absolutely. Those are the only movies I've seen, which might be why they're my favorites.
That explains it.
Yeah. Ben Affleck, man. What a gem. What a star.
I am excited to see him as the Batman.
I'm not excited that he's doing he was clearly a Marvel superhero and has abandoned that for DC. But I'll get over it. I mean, we got Chris Evans doing 2 in the same universe. Upsetting, but yeah,
it happens.
Chris Evans can do whatever he wants, though. I don't mind.
Let him have free reign there.
Yeah. Did you ever see that train movie he was in?
Maybe.
It's recent. People
Probably not.
It was about a train that couldn't slow down. I think it was just Speed, except on a train.
Speed 4
with socioeconomic politics in it.
Yeah, I've not heard of that. I'm Googling it now. Train Chris Evans. Snowpiercer?
That's it.
Huh.
Sounds like Speed.
A little bit. It is not part of the Speediverse, though.
Have you seen Speed at least?
I have seen Speed.
Oh, okay.
Don't patronize me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tilda Swinton is in this too. This actually looks interesting.
Yeah, I mean the trailer looks compelling enough.
Huh. All right. Give it a look, folks.
It's about a sentient train that can never slow down.
All right.
I think the word train was probably the only accurate part of that statement, but I don't think it's sentient. It's probably operated by men or human. Sorry,
the folly of humankind.
That was a little normative.
Yeah.
Are we going to answer
Yeah, let's dive into this question.
Okay.
So we've actually got a couple questions, but so thank you for the questions. Keep sending them in.
Yeah, don't take that as a sign you shouldn't send them in because
it's a sign you should send them in.
Yeah.
So finally, answering Oz's second question here. I'll read it off here. I've got too many jobs, but I love doing all the work myself. So she mentioned a couple weeks ago in the show, I think 3 weeks ago now, that she started doing freelance video work and wants to do more. She's also done freelance photography, but also teaches for a day job. And I know teaching takes a lot of time. So she loves doing this freelance work, loves being able to switch the way that I think and work after spending all day with kids. So how do you work more or do more thing without outsourcing if you actually like doing all the stuff that you're doing? And that is from superfan, part of the Triforce of Friends, Oz. What do you think, Joel? You do a lot of things.
Yeah, I do a lot of things, and I wish my answer to not sound as flippant as it will, but yeah, you have to outsource and give up some of the fun things. I think about my team at my day job. I mean, as often as possible, I give them the more interesting, more fun work to do because that's just part of running a healthy team and trying to be successful, is that you will end up doing the stuff that's less fun if your goal is to produce lots of work and be successful at it. Now, if your goal isn't those things, if your goal is just to live a happy, fulfilling life working on lots of projects, then you don't have a problem. But since you're asking the question, I'd say you want to do more things and become more successful. And I feel like part of that is letting go as much as you're able to. And more fun things will come along that you'll get to work on and then eventually pass that on to someone else. You get kind of the first crack at the fun stuff, but eventually you got to pass it on. And my feeling on outsourcing or getting someone else to do something, if it's something that anyone else could do, it's something that someone else should be doing. You should only be working on stuff that only you can do. Which
I think is maybe something that you're already doing. I had a thought. I lost it. Bear with me.
Chris thoughts.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to work on all these projects and loving the nitty gritty, because I kind of feel the same way. In my own business, just to, from my own experience, like I definitely, so we do web development if you're new to the show. And while I don't see myself doing the actual coding work long term, right now I'm kind of in a position where I have to, and actually, and I don't mind it. I like solving these very specific coding problems and doing that myself. But what I have done instead is I've outsourced the process around that. So for you doing freelance video and photography, maybe you can figure out a way to outsource the initial communications with a potential client, right? So figuring out a way to outsource your scheduling. So maybe you have a virtual assistant scheduling photography appointments, doing things like that. So you can continue to focus on the nitty gritty, because I suspect in doing this freelance video and photography work that, like Joel said, like do the thing that only you can do. For video and photography, that probably means actually making the videos and editing the videos or taking the pictures and stuff. So, I mean, I guess I agree with Joel in the same sense, like focus on the stuff that you can do. And I think you're already doing that. But maybe the marketing efforts can be outsourced, sort of the administrative tasks, paying people or getting paid, that kind of thing, bookkeeping, all of those related tasks that are part of starting side businesses and maintaining side businesses. You can outsource all of that. And that's kind of the tack that I've taken. So I'm doing sort of communication with the clients, but I'm not handling anything to do with time tracking or bookkeeping or any of those assorted tasks. That's where I've kind of focused my outsourcing energy. And I think if you can do the same thing, that'll free you up to do more stuff. The other thing that I would say is have a really good understanding of what you're capable of. And I don't mean from a skill set sense, but from like a time management sense. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I've realized that I really can only do about 3 hours of coding a day before I burn out. And with you having a full-time job that you really need to be able to perform at your peak for dealing with middle-aged kids or middle school-aged kids, having
middle-aged kids, they all have Jack disease.
It's the full Benjamin Button syndrome. But having an understanding of what your limits are, I think, is super important when you're managing and juggling all these different jobs and things that you're doing. Like, it's very easy to get the superhero syndrome where you think that you can sort of take everything on. It's a lot harder to have a really good understanding of what you're actually capable of and adhering to that.
Yeah, I think, and the other part of the superhero syndrome is assuming that some of the things you do are things only you can do. Mm-hmm. I think it's really, really important to realize that most of us aren't super geniuses. Most of us aren't the most exceptional people in the world. There's probably a lot of stuff that we all do that we think is unique to us that someone else could do. So let them delegate, give it away. And you'll be happier in the long run. I'm just thinking, like, when I read this question initially, I've been off work for the week after my wedding, and I can't describe how happy like I am knowing that my team at work just has everything. Like, I've given them so much responsibility and have not let them do, that sounds way too condescending, but empowered them to do so much of what I think another manager might have wanted to keep. But I know that they're smart people and they can do it fine. So I had no concerns about not being there. The only thing that apparently I forgot to get them to do was this one report that I do every week that I keep doing it, even though it's typically the kind of thing that I would pass on or delegate. But it's such a pain in the ass to do that I just kept it because no one else would want to do this thing. So I forgot to get them to do it. So that was a bit of a scramble on Monday. But that's the thing. Like, that's what it is to kind of be successful and to help a business thrive is giving stuff up. And I think you'll be happier in the long run.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that.
Cool.
Hopefully we answered that.
I don't think you should add anything to that. I think I nailed it.
Got it in one.
Yeah, sure did. All right. How long have we been doing this for? Too long now?
35 minutes. Not bad.
Yeah, it'll do.
I feel like our shows are getting longer as we get more into it. And let us know if you like that or hate that.
I definitely like not stressing about the time as much. So hopefully our listeners
I
do
agree.
too.
It's nice to be able to sort of banter about other things.
Though it does cost us more to get them edited.
You're paying for that.
Yeah, exactly. So no, don't worry, Chris. This doesn't affect you in any way.
Basically.
Just a personal note.
Completely selfish when it comes to all of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we should probably wrap up.
Probably. Yeah, we didn't get into my magazine problem, but that's okay. It's an ongoing problem.
That'll be evergreen, so
Yeah.
to speak. So that'll be fine. I have a similar problem, so we can probably do a whole episode on unhealthy habits related to magazines, which sounds like never mind. I was unhealthy habits related to magazines. My brain went to pornography.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
everyone.
Come on. I was kind of surprised that Atlantic News that I went near your apartment had a pornography section, because it did not seem like that type of place.
Yeah, I guess you can't claim to have a vast magazine selection unless you offer that. But I mean, if you're still into hard copy porn, I'm not sure where else you would go.
And if you are into that, what's your deal?
Yeah, email us.
This is 2014.
Yeah. Portability. I mean, everyone's got it on their phones now. Everyone's iPhone is just full of porn. So
that's what they invented them for.
That's why they keep going up in storage space. I got 128 gigs on this thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You went all the way.
All the way. 100% porn.
Show notes. Let's housekeep this stuff.
Sorry.
I usually do this part, so you kind of don't know.
I know. And that's what half of that was realizing that it was not my turn to jump in. And then I just kind of forgot where I was for a second, but I'm back now.
So definitely send in questions. So we've got some questions to go on, for a little while, but, and by a little while, I mean 1 week. But still, send us a question. We love your questions. notarealjob.com/questions has a very convenient form. If you're not into that, you can also email us questions@notarealjob.com. We're on Stitcher. Haven't mentioned that in a while. So if you're into Stitcher, you think that's cool, then definitely check us out there. notarealjob.com/Stitcher will redirect you to our page there. If you want to advertise on the show, or if you want to yell at us for being terrible or awesome or whatever it is, if you want to get in touch, notarealjob.com/contact has a form, or you can email us info@notarealjob.com. Most importantly, 2 things. 1, tell your friends. We rely on your love to help us find more fans. And also, we are on iTunes, notarealjob.com/iTunes. It's been a really long time since we've gotten new iTunes reviews. And I just checked and nothing new. So please, go on to iTunes, give us a rating. Actually, we did get 1 star, but it's not a written review. We appreciate the stars. Written
How many
reviews
stars
even more.
did they give us?
So we have a perfect 5-star rating out of 16 people who have reviewed the show or rated the show. So no pressure, but please 5 stars only.
I say go with your gut. I think 5 stars looks suspicious, actually.
I think it's the natural thing that people would do if they went with their gut, though, because we are perfect in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, just don't listen if you don't like it. You don't have to be a dick about it.
Yeah, fuck off, haters.
We have so many haters. It's getting to be a problem.
Also, I think that means we officially need to mark the show as explicit.
Let's do it. I think that'll get us more cred.
There we go. More badass.
Yeah, my new interstitial music will include more F-bombs, as we call them.
More cursing.
Yeah.
And finally, so Oz mentioned in her email that she wants to mail us things. And suggested we get him a Bim Bam style P.O. box.
I was thinking I would just give everyone your parents' mailing address.
Go for it. It's probably on my website anyway.
They're gonna actually get a package pretty soon.
That's a long story. We'll explain that sometime.
I'm mailing a mail bomb to Chris's parents because I want him to be just mine.
That's weird.
It's so weird.
So we might do that, and if we do that, definitely we'll share that so you can mail us all your awesome stuff. Finally, the most important part of the show. We have a little Amazon store, and we make some affiliate revenue off of that, assuming you buy the stuff, and I'm sure you do. So Joel, what is your Amazon pick this week?
It's the stuff that's actually coming to your parents.
It is a mail bomb.
Yeah. It's Stack Soap. I mean, well, I got the Stack Soap. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but if you listen to BimM, you are well aware of what it is. Anyway, it's awesome soap. We got 2 bars in like the Maximum Fun appreciation box or whatever you get for being a donor last year. And I finally cracked into them. And the idea behind Stack Soap, it's an infinity soap. So,
whoa.
They're molded so that when you get down to what they call on BimM, the stupid sliver, that little bit of soap that either gets stuck in your drain or you lose or end up just throwing out, that it fits into the next bar of soap. So you're not losing that wasted soap. And it's super good for my skin. I have incredibly sensitive skin because I'm allergic to everything in the world. If you can hear me sniffling and I sound nasally, it's because my nose is never not running. Anyway, it's super good it's unscented, super good for your skin. So if you, like me, are a delicate flower, Stack Soap, Stack Soap's amazing. I ordered 4 of the 6-packs, and I'm mailing them to Chris's parents because they don't ship to Canada. So this is for American friends only. If you are a Canadian and want them, just let me know. I'll give you Chris's parents' address. I'm going to send them so many letters. Like, hey guys, you don't know me, but
they know a lot about you. I always get, how's Joel doing?
That's
all the
so
time.
Nice. I like to know people are checking in on me.
People care.
And you say not well.
It's a long story. It's a bit of a mess these days.
You just go, oh, Joel, and that's it.
He's got the old ball and chain now.
Oh my God, what a mistake that was.
Oh, so many regrets.
Good wedding though, right? I think it was good.
It was a blast. There was so much fun.
Couple issues with the sound.
I tried to help as best I could, but I've forgotten everything that I learned in college. So.
Oh, well, that's so nice of you for trying to help, though. I didn't know that.
I gave it a shot. Oh, yeah. I was turning knobs and things. It was legit.
Oh, man, you know what we should have done? We should have turned it up. That would have probably solved it. You were just...
It would have bothered the large party next door, which might have been a good thing.
Man, that's... Anyway. They're gonna hear a little bit about that, and I have begun to boycott their products. Anyway, what's your Amazon thing?
My Amazon thing is a corkscrew that is stainless steel. It's beautiful, and it's like $13. So I really love this corkscrew. Actually, I got the wine that I'm drinking today just before the show, and I got very nervous because I thought it had a twist off, which is like good for the environment and all that kind of stuff, but it's no fun.
Twist offs. You can probably put a corkscrew right through that, though. I
mean, I guess I could. I don't know what the value would be of doing that.
Get some metal shavings.
Sure. Everyone loves a good metal shaving.
Good for your tum-tum. Put the link, and then I want to see this thing. What's it called?
This is the True Fabrications Deluxe Professional Corkscrew.
True Fabrications. Ugh.
So it's like Chinese made or whatever.
That's such a clever name. True Fabrications.
I just pasted the link in our shared doc. It's basically a piece of stainless steel morphed into a corkscrew, and it's beautiful. It's heavy. It's got the double hinge, so you can very easily get the worm out. Hinge. So it's amazing. If you need like a solid professional, like real deal corkscrew, this is the one. If you want something fancier, then find it. But I love this. It's super simple. It's the bare bones. It's legit. So
definitely, it's got that little knife in it for stabbing.
It's got the knife. Not for stabbing, but I guess you could use it for that.
Yep. Well, the knives on these things are always so small as to be completely useless. So that you're not going to be able to stab someone to death with it, but you can give them a real roughing up.
Cut them up a little bit.
Just a few little cuts.
So there you have it, folks. That's our little podcast. We make goofs and gags.
They call it a worm?
Yeah, the actual
upsetting.
the corks, the screw itself is the worm. Yeah, I learned.
I
that
wish I
recently.
didn't know that.
Oh, I kind of like it. I think it gives it
No.
character.
That's upsetting.
You're upsetting.
Thanks. All right.
Now that our jokes have descended to terribleness,
this item ships to Halifax. That's exciting.
Cool. Well,
All right.
let's end the show.
Yeah, it's time.
It's been
Sorry,
real, folks.
everyone.
It's been fun, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody. I love you all.